I sat in my doctor's office in Minneapolis, Minnesota, staring at my phone screen, hands shaking as I typed the message into our family group chat. 23 people in that chat. Parents, siblings, aunts, uncles, cousins. The people who were supposed to be my support system. Doctor says surgery's tomorrow. Ovarian cyst removal, possible complications. I'm scared. Can someone be with me? Hospital visiting hours start at 6 a.m. Surgery at 8 a.m. I don't want to be alone. I hit send. Watched the message deliver. Saw the read receipts appear one by one as family members opened it. And then I waited. The first response came from my mother 3 minutes later. Tomorrow? That's so last minute. I have book club in the morning. Can't you reschedule? I stared at those words. Read them twice. 3 times. My mother, the woman who gave birth to me, was asking if I could reschedule surgery because of her book club. My father, working tomorrow. Can't get off on such short notice. My older sister, Amanda, I have the kids' dentist appointments. You know how hard those are to get. My younger brother, Kyle, bro, I'm out of town for a work thing. Bad timing. My Aunt Susan, sending prayers. Folded hands. My cousin Derek, hope it goes well. Message after message. Excuses, prayers, well wishes. Not one person said, I'll be there. Not one person rearranged their schedule. Not one person treated my surgery like it mattered more than their book club, their work, their errands, their convenience. I sat in that doctor's office, reading those responses, and something inside me that had been bending for 35 years finally snapped clean in half. My name is Reagan Foster, and if you're watching this, stay with me. Because that group chat message asking for help during surgery was the last time I ever asked my family for anything. And what they didn't know was that the daughter, sister, niece, and cousin they'd just abandoned had been the only thing holding their lives together for over a decade. Let me take you back so you understand what led to that moment. I'm the oldest of 3 children in a family from Minneapolis. I've always been the responsible one. The problem solver. The person everyone called when they needed something. And I'd spent 35 years showing up for every single person in that family group chat, never once saying no, never once too busy, never once asking, can you reschedule? When my mother had her gallbladder surgery 6 years ago, I took 2 weeks off work to stay with her. Cooked her meals, helped her shower, drove her to follow-up appointments, managed her medications. She'd been terrified, and I'd held her hand through everything. When my father had his knee replacement 4 years ago, I'd coordinated his entire recovery. Physical therapy appointments, home modifications, insurance paperwork. I'd spent 3 months essentially being his personal assistant. When Amanda had both her babies, I was the one who stayed at the hospital overnight. The one who took her older kid when the younger was born. The one who meal prepped for her family for weeks. The one who showed up at 2 a.m. when she called crying about breastfeeding struggles. When Kyle got his DUI 2 years ago, I was the one who bailed him out at midnight. The one who drove him to court. The one who helped him find a lawyer. The one who loaned him $8,000 for legal fees that he never paid back. When Aunt Susan's husband left her, I helped her move, set up her apartment, taught her how to use online banking because her ex had controlled all their finances. When my cousin Derek lost his job, I revised his entire resume, practiced interview skills with him, and connected him with recruiters in my network. On and on and on. 15 years of showing up. Of dropping everything. Of being the reliable one, the dependable one, the one who never said, I can't, or, I'm busy, or, can you handle this yourself? And in return, when I had surgery scheduled, surgery that my doctor had said carried risks, surgery that terrified me, surgery that meant going under anesthesia and not knowing if I'd wake up with good news or bad, my mother asked if I could reschedule because of book club. I left the doctor's office, drove home to my apartment, and sat on my couch staring at that group chat. No one had changed their response. No one had reconsidered. The chat had moved on to other topics. My cousin's new car. Someone's fantasy football league. My aunt's vacation photos. My surgery, my fear, my request for basic human support, it had already been forgotten. Buried under 20 new messages about things that mattered more to them than I did. I opened my laptop and started a document. At the top, I titled it, Family Ledger, 15 years. And then I started writing. Every time I'd shown up for someone in that family. Every emergency I'd handled. Every favor I'd done. Every dollar I'd loaned. Every hour I'd sacrificed. It took me 4 hours to document everything I could remember. When I finished, the document was 42 pages long. 42 pages of one-sided relationships. Of me giving and them taking. Of me showing up and them being absent. The financial total alone was staggering. $67,400 in loans that were never repaid, costs I'd covered, expenses I'd shouldered. The time? Over 2,000 hours of free labor. Caregiving, event planning, emotional support, problem solving, crisis management. And in return, when I needed them for one morning, they were too busy. I saved the document. Then I made a decision. I wasn't going to argue with them. Wasn't going to guilt them. Wasn't going to explain why their responses had hurt me. I was just going to stop. Stop being available. Stop being reliable. Stop being the person they called when they needed something. I was going to let them experience what it felt like when the foundation of their family support system simply vanished. That night, I blocked every person in that family group chat. All 23 of them. Then I blocked their individual numbers. Then I deactivated my Facebook and Instagram accounts so they couldn't reach me there either. I called my best friend, Zara, who I'd known since college and who wasn't related to my family. I need you to come to my surgery tomorrow morning. Will you? Of course, she said without hesitation. What time? 6 a.m. I'll be there at 5:45. Do you need me to stay after? If you can. I'm scared, Zara. I know. That's why I'll be there. Unlike some people, I actually show up for the people I care about. She did show up. Early. With coffee and a bag of magazines and a portable phone charger because she'd thought of everything I might need. She held my hand before they wheeled me into surgery. She was the first face I saw when I woke up. She stayed with me for 6 hours post-op, only leaving when I insisted I was fine and needed to sleep. My family? They had no idea the surgery had even happened. Because I never updated the group chat. Never told them I was okay. Just let them wonder. If they were wondering at all. 3 days after the surgery, I started getting voicemails from my mother. Reagan, why aren't you answering? I've been calling for days. Are you okay? I'm starting to worry. Not, I'm sorry I didn't come to your surgery. Not, I should have been there. Just, why aren't you answering? My father left a message, Reagan, your mother's upset. You need to call her back. Whatever you're mad about, you're being childish. We're family. We work things out. Amanda texted from a new number I hadn't blocked yet. Mom says you're ignoring everyone. What's your problem? You asked for help and we were all busy. Stop being dramatic. I screenshot that text. Added it to my documentation. Then blocked that number too. Over the next 2 weeks, the attempts to contact me escalated. They tried emailing. They tried messaging through professional networking sites. My cousin Derek even tried to call my workplace, but I'd already warned HR that I was dealing with family boundary issues, and asked them not to put through any calls from specific names. But here's what they didn't know. In those 2 weeks while they were trying to reach me to find out why I was being dramatic, things in their lives were already starting to unravel. My mother's computer crashed. She had no idea how to back up her files, how to transfer her photos, how to set up a new system. Normally, I'd have done all of it. This time, she lost 10 years of photos because she didn't know how to use cloud storage and I wasn't there to show her. My father tried to file his taxes. He'd relied on me to organize his receipts and do the paperwork for the last 8 years. This time, he hired a CPA who charged him $800 for a service I'd provided free. Amanda's kid got sick. Needed emergency childcare because Amanda had to work and her usual daycare wouldn't take a sick child. She'd called me in these situations 12 times over the past 3 years. This time, I didn't answer. She had to miss a crucial work presentation, and her boss was not pleased. Kyle's car broke down. He had no emergency fund because he'd never learned to save. Why would he, when I'd always bailed him out? This time, no bailout. He had to take out a predatory payday loan with 400% interest to cover the repairs. 1 month after my surgery, my phone rang from a number I didn't recognize. Against my better judgment, I answered. It was my grandmother, my father's mother, the one person in the family who'd always been kind to me. Reagan, sweetheart, it's Grandma June. Please don't hang up. Hi, Grandma, I said carefully. I heard about your surgery. I heard that you asked for help and nobody came. I heard that you've cut everyone off. And I need you to know something, you were right to do it. I felt tears spring to my eyes. Grandma. Hush, let me finish. I've watched this family take advantage of you for 15 years. I've watched them treat you like their personal assistant, their ATM, their problem solver, and never once have I seen them give you the same energy back. When your mother told me she couldn't come to your surgery because of book club, I told her she should be ashamed of herself. Do you know what she said? What? She said, Reagan's always fine. She doesn't need us like we need her. That's when I knew. She actually believed that. Believed you were just naturally strong, naturally capable, naturally didn't need support like everyone else. It never occurred to her that maybe you seemed strong because you had no choice. Because nobody else would be. Grandma, I don't know what to do. I'm so angry. And I feel guilty for being angry. Stop feeling guilty. You set a boundary. They don't like it because it's inconvenient for them. But Reagan, sweetheart, listen to me, you don't owe them your pain just because it makes them comfortable. They abandoned you when you needed them. You're allowed to walk away. Are they? How are they doing? Falling apart, honestly. Your mother's panicking because she's realized how much she depended on you. Your father's complaining about how expensive everything is now that he has to pay people for services you provided free. Amanda's struggling without her free childcare. Kyle's in debt. They're all finally learning what Reagan isn't available actually means. And it's not pretty. Good, I said, and meant it. Good indeed. Reagan, I'm not calling to convince you to forgive them. I'm calling to tell you I'm proud of you. You survived that surgery without them. You're rebuilding your life without them. And you're finally putting yourself first. Keep doing it. After I hung up with Grandma June, I felt something shift. The guilt I'd been carrying, the feeling that maybe I'd overreacted, maybe I was being too harsh, it evaporated. Because Grandma was right. I hadn't overreacted. I'd finally reacted appropriately to 15 years of being undervalued. 6 weeks after the surgery, I got a letter in the mail. Handwritten envelope, my mother's writing. I almost threw it away unopened, but curiosity won. Dear Reagan, I know you don't want to hear from me. I know I failed you. I've been in therapy since you cut us off. My therapist asked me to describe our relationship, and when I tried to list all the things I do for you, I couldn't think of any. But when she asked me to list what you do for me, I filled 3 pages. 3 pages, Reagan. And I never saw it. I never saw that our relationship was completely one-sided. That you gave and gave and gave, and I just took. When you asked for help with your surgery and I said I had book club, my therapist said that was the moment I chose a book club over my daughter's well-being. She was right. I chose wrong. I've chosen wrong for 35 years. I don't expect you to forgive me. I don't expect you to let me back into your life. I'm writing because I need you to know, You were never the problem. Your expectations weren't too high. Your needs weren't too much. You simply needed what every human needs, reciprocity. And I never gave it to you. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Your mother, Carol. I read it 3 times. It was the most self-aware thing my mother had ever written. But it didn't change anything. Because apologies without changed behavior are just words. And one letter couldn't undo 35 years of one-sided caregiving. I filed the letter away. Didn't respond. And went back to my life, the one I was building without them. My surgery recovery had gone well. The cyst was benign. I was healthy. And I was discovering something profound. I was happier without them. The constant drain of managing everyone else's crises, the emotional labor of being everyone's therapist, the financial burden of being everyone's bank, it was all gone. And in its absence, I was thriving. I got a promotion at work. Director of Operations, $125,000 a year. My boss told me I'd been more focused and productive in the last 2 months. I didn't tell her it was because I'd cut off my entire family and suddenly had mental bandwidth I'd never had before. I started dating someone I'd met through Zara. Someone kind, emotionally available, who actually asked about my day and listened to the answer. Someone who showed up when they said they would. Someone who treated reciprocity as the baseline, not the exception. I took a vacation to Iceland. Spent 8 days hiking, photographing landscapes, being completely unreachable. It was the first vacation I'd taken in 6 years where I didn't have to check my phone constantly for family emergencies. The peace was intoxicating. 3 months after the surgery, my father showed up at my apartment. I don't know how he got past building security, but there he was, knocking on my door at 7 p.m. on a Tuesday. I looked through the peephole, saw him, and didn't open the door. Instead, I called building security. There's someone at my door who I've explicitly blocked from contacting me. Can you please remove him? I watched through the peephole as security escorted him out. He looked shocked. Like he couldn't believe his own daughter would have him removed from her building. But that's exactly how far outside of reality he'd been living, in a world where he could abandon me during surgery and still expect access to me whenever he decided it was convenient. That night, I got an email from him. Reagan, I came to talk to you in person because I thought maybe we could work this out face to face. I can't believe you had security remove me like I'm some kind of criminal. I'm your father. I deserve respect. I replied with one line, respect is earned by showing up. You didn't. Forward this email to everyone in the family who's wondering why I'm gone. They all made the same choice you did. For months after the surgery, the holidays rolled around. Thanksgiving. The first one I'd miss in my entire life. My mother sent me an email with the subject line, "Please come home for Thanksgiving." I didn't even open it. Just archived it and made plans with Zara and her family instead. Had the best Thanksgiving of my life with people who actually appreciated my presence instead of expecting my labor. Zara's mother hugged me when I arrived and said, "We're so glad you're here." Not, "Can you help with the cooking?" or "Did you bring the thing I asked you to bring?" Just genuine gladness that I existed in their space. It was such a foreign feeling that I almost cried. 5 months after the surgery, I got a message from Kyle. He'd somehow gotten my work email. Reagan, I'm in real trouble. I lost my job. I'm about to lose my apartment. I need $5,000 to get caught up on rent. I know we haven't talked, but you're the only person I can ask. Please. I'm desperate. I forwarded the email to my personal archive, the one where I was documenting everything, and then I deleted it from my work inbox without responding. Because Kyle had learned nothing. He was still the person who thought his emergencies were my responsibility. He still hadn't connected his current crisis to the fact that I'd spent years enabling him instead of letting him develop his own problem-solving skills. 6 months after the surgery, I got an unexpected package. Inside was a framed photo of me and Grandma June from when I was 7 years old, and a note, "Reagan, I'm moving into assisted living. I'm downsizing and wanted you to have this. You were always my favorite grandchild, even though I wasn't supposed to have one. You were the one who called just to talk, not just when you needed something. I hope you're happy, sweetheart. You deserve all the happiness in the world. Love, Grandma June. I called her immediately. We talked for 2 hours. She told me the family was a mess without me, but that she thought it was good for them. They need to learn, she said. They need to understand that people aren't bottomless wells. You give and eventually the well runs dry. You ran dry, and they're finally learning what that means. Do you think they'll change? I asked. Some of them might. Your mother seems genuinely reflective. Your father's still in denial. Amanda's starting to get it now that she's had to manage her own life without you. Kyle. I don't know about Kyle. But Reagan, here's what I know, whether they change or not isn't your responsibility. You don't owe them another chance to prove they've learned their lesson. You get to decide if and when you ever want to open that door again. And if you decide never, that's valid too. I don't know if I'll ever be ready, I said honestly. Then don't be. You've given them 35 years. It's your turn now. Live your life for you, sweetheart. That's all any of us should be doing. 8 months after the surgery, I ran into Amanda at a grocery store. Pure coincidence. She was in line ahead of me, didn't see me until I was right behind her. When she turned and recognized me, her face went through several expressions: surprise, guilt, anger, resignation. Reagan, she said carefully. Amanda, I replied, just as carefully. How are you? I'm good. Really good, actually. You? Honestly? Struggling. The kids are a lot. Work is demanding. And I don't have help anymore. She looked at me meaningfully. You have a husband, I pointed out. You have your in-laws. You have paid childcare options. You have lots of help available. You just don't have free help anymore. Her face reddened. That's not fair. You're my sister. Sisters help each other. Help is reciprocal, Amanda. What you had wasn't a sister helping. It was a sister being used. There's a difference. So you're just done? With all of us? Forever? I don't know, I said honestly. What I do know is that I asked for one morning of support when I was having surgery, and you said no because of a dentist appointment. That told me everything I needed to know about where I rank in your priorities. And I've decided to rank myself higher in mine. Reagan, I'm sorry. I really am. I should have been there. Yes, I agreed. You should have. But you weren't. And now I'm not available to be your free childcare anymore. Not because I'm punishing you, but because I value my time and energy too much to give it to people who don't value me. I paid for my groceries and left. Didn't look back. Didn't feel guilty. Just felt clear. 1 year after the surgery, I woke up in my apartment, made coffee, and realized something profound. I hadn't thought about my family in 3 days. 3 entire days without the anxiety of wondering who needed something, who was in crisis, who I'd have to drop everything for. 3 days of just living my own life. It felt like freedom. My name is Reagan Foster. I texted my family group chat asking for someone to be with me during surgery, and my mother said she couldn't because of book club. So I had the surgery without them, recovered without them, and built a life without them. And in doing so, I discovered that I was never the problem. My capacity to give wasn't the issue. Their complete inability to give back was. They call me dramatic for cutting them off. They say I'm overreacting to one incident. But it wasn't one incident. It was 15 years of one-sided relationships culminating in a moment where I was genuinely scared and vulnerable, and they couldn't be bothered to show up. I don't know if I'll ever let them back into my life. Maybe my mother's therapy will lead to genuine change. Maybe Amanda will learn to value reciprocity. Maybe my father will understand respect is earned. Maybe Kyle will figure out his own life. Or maybe they won't. Maybe they'll stay exactly who they've always been.